What's up, everybody? Big shout out to Ampachino. Been in the podcast, man. I believe a viewer for at least a year. The podcast only been a real podcast less than 2 years, 2020, 21. But Will, Mac Earl, and Pacino, so many others have been here since the beginning. And I really appreciate y'all for caring about your community, for social distancing and networking with local businesses and artists and creators here in Northern California. That's a big deal to me because I love Northern California. You know how Pac said, I love LA. No, no, no. I love the valley and the bay. I love Northern California. It's a diverse, wonderful, high energy group of communities out here, and I love this place. So, without further ado, before we start this session, I want to say we say all that to say this. We come on here every day to say the same thing. Please visit change.org and vote.org to make a difference in your city and state. Change.org to vote on the $2,000 stimulus check, for stimulus check petition. Also to vote, assign petitions for the Justice for the Say Their Names hashtags, Justice for George Floyd, Justice for Ahmaud Arbery, Justice for Breonna Taylor, Justice for Vanessa Gillen, Justice for Elijah McClain, Justice for Ma'Khia Bryant, Justice for Adam Toledo. Change.org, y'all, for the petitions for the Justice for the Say Their Name hashtags. Under the George Floyd Justice Act of 2020, we can now demand that Internal Affairs, the State Attorney General, orders Internal Affairs to investigate racially discriminated against cases of police brutality and the killing of unarmed victims. So, y'all, please be aware of your rights and organizations that will help you and support you to receive justice and all the legal processes to defend your case or someone you love in your community. The other website is called vote.org. Vote.org is where you can vote for business licensing and legalizing businesses, the amounts of business licenses available in your city and state, public housing, public transportation, homeless shelters, and free healthcare clinics, educational programs, free lunches, and school buses and social distance learning, as well as after school programs such as the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club, politicians running for office, as well as propositions, Prop 10, Prop 22, Uber, minimum wage, rent control. All of these things you can research the votes at vote.org. Again, it's very important if you are able to vote or you know someone who is able to vote, or especially someone who works for the city, the state, or the county, for them to use their voice and contact our state senate, our House of Representatives, our governors, and change.org and vote.org to sign, and vote. It's very, very, very important, y'all, that the funding that is awarded to every state is spent and invested correctly in a manner that will benefit and give back to the community, as opposed to elite medicine and stem cell research that we don't have access to, and only some cancer patients may be able to access in the future, such as foreign war, oil policies. You know what I'm saying? The wall that they made, all the shit they got going on that doesn't directly benefit anyone in the community, y'all. That's, I wouldn't say embezzlement, but that is definitely abuse of government funding. California happens to be one of the states with minimal to no homeless laws for homeless shelters or voluntary check-in rehabilitation programs or voluntary check-in homeless shelters. For women, single parents, for women, domestic violence survivors, for LGBTQ that may have been outcasted from their family or the community or job or something like that. Other things, again, like I said, vote.org, change.org. This is all very, very important. Without further ado, we are going to get started here on this smoke session. If you have not rolled a blunt, made a drink, a cup of coffee, a sandwich, or fired up a square, now's the time to do so. Excuse me, I can't even talk. I ain't smoked yet. It is 4:49 p.m. here on the West Coast, Northern California, Stockton, California to be exact, baby. About 30 minutes past 4:20. We're gonna start with the intro. Nothing too fancy. We're just gonna play the Cherry Franklin Show intro, and then get on the news update. We'll probably get Facebook and YouTube about 30 minutes today. We did watch the vote yesterday, and where they were thinking about shutting down the government. A government shutdown. What is the reason? The reason was because they could not agree that another 1.2, 1.5 to 3.2, 3.5 billion-dollar trillion-dollar stimulus check package, was going to create debt or not in this country. Absolutely, of course it is. Not only have most jobs, businesses, families lost most of their profitability since the quarantine and curfew was issued in March of 2020, a lot of them lost their profit and ability to hire back or sustain any hours in their establishment. So everybody is going into debt right now. It's up to the United States to come up with frequent enough and sufficient enough, helpful enough packages and solutions to prevent us all from going into bankruptcy due to not being able to pay our bills on time, due to not being able to find a job with enough hours to pay our bills, and due to waiting for emergency funding that is yet to come. So many times we've been let down by the government, stalling out and voting no and disagreeing on our packages and benefits that we're supposed to receive as tax-paying Americans in this American economy. It then does things like relinquishes us from responsibility for sabotage to our records and our credit with legal and loans and banks and other things like that, because we just simply don't have the funding or the resources that were promised to be available by no fault of our own, in fact, at that. So without further ado, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and twist this blunt up real quick, and we're gonna listen to the theme song. This song is by Trapito, SMC Global Music Group out of Alabama. Main artist name is Trapito, featuring myself, Cherry Franklin. This is the theme song. Put it in the air for our podcast here on all social media networks at The Cherry Franklin Show. Again, y'all, if you have not rolled a blunt, made a drink, a cup of coffee, or a sandwich, now's the time to do so. Y'all get into the smoke session. It is 4:52 p.m., 32 minutes past 4:20 here on the West Coast. Northern California, Stockton, California to be exact, baby. Y'all get in this and enjoy. Let me get y'all some better internet signal. Y'all ready? It's time to roll up, y'all. We're about to smoke, play a couple songs, and listen to the news. Get it.
Hey, put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Everywhere I'm at, eyes on low, but I'm up there. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. We rolling up extinctions. Everywhere I'm at, smoke in the air. We on the gas, she on the mid, we on both. I want the bag, give me the cash. I want the low. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air.
We're having a party.
We rolling up extinctions. Everywhere I'm at, smoke in the air. We rolling up extinctions.
Let me tell you what I don't like in life. One of them is bad music. Bitch, y'all better play my song all the way through this time, or me and your mama gonna have a talk about you. And you not gonna like it. You not gonna be there to defend yourself. Y'all make sure y'all let me know also, what is you smoking? What is you smoking? What flavors are popular in your area? What is brand spanking new? What is the best of the best of the best served with honors, and what not to get? Make sure y'all leave a comment in the comment section. So don't nobody waste their money, honey.
Hey, put it in the air, put it in the air, put it in the air, put it in the air. Everywhere I'm at, everywhere I'm at. Eyes on low, but I'm up there. Put it in the air, put it in the air, put it in the air, put it in the air. We rolling up extensions. Everywhere I'm at, smoke in the air. We on the gas, she on the mid. We on both. I want the bag. Give me the cash. I want the low. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air.
We're having a party.
We rolling up extensions. Everywhere I'm at, smoke in the air. We rolling up extensions. Heard y'all niggas be switching. Might need to sit back and listen. The whole team on attention. Jet white nigga on gremlins. When I hit the black nigga, it's a collision. Just like a gremlin. We got some minute joints in the air. We do not care. So we on the left. We smoking rap. So you need a tap. Let's go. The Z-Man. It's the best time for the season. Your own joint, no leeching. I can just smash out a beat it. I'ma get mines on greedy. Shawty said she want me to eat it. I told her I'm vegan. Hey, shawty on super straight. I got the Mary J. That be my ace. You can add me to the race. Foot on the gas, so get out the way. You come in last, you a disgrace. But with my stash, I be where you stay. When I get mad, I roll up the paper. Gas, blowing on bait. Ay, put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Everywhere I'm at, everywhere I'm at. Eyes on low, but I'm up there. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. We rolling up extensions. Everywhere I'm at, smoke in the air. We on the gas, she on the mid. We on both. I want the bag, give me the cash. I want the low. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. We rolling up extensions. Everywhere I'm at, smoke in the air.
Well, when the car on, it go down. Every time the don't move, smoke come out. 209, yeah, that's my cloud. Blunt rotations, that's my crowd. You ain't gotta smoke this Cali. Put it in the wood, but she grew it in the valley. Keep on wax on leaf on tap. I'll turn the team up, pet rally. Why you think they call me Cherry? I had grace since it in the blueberry. Mr. Jack, I'm coming with the Mary. This, that thing, no air pack, spare me. I got lungs like a motherfucking vacuum. Puff, ash, then pass, I'll tax you. That's just facts, no cap, boo. I put it on wax for the pack, fool. It's written on me like a tattoo. Big circle like I'm battle rapping tattoo. Like blunts, but I put it in a zag too. Like fronts, but I put it on my bag too. Don't do me. I keep 5 on it like the Loonies. Hit your ass off with a 2-piece. It go to me. Quit acting brand new like a groupie. You just put it in the air, put it in the air. Put it in the air, put it in the air. Everywhere I'm at, everywhere I'm at. Eyes on low, but I'm up there.
Over there, it's safe, you know what I'm saying? Cause we spinning these Jacksons. The Washingtons go to wifey, you know how that go.
I'm saying that's what this is all about, right? Clothes, bank rolls, and hoes, you know what I'm saying?
What's up, everybody? Thank y'all so much for being here. I see we are well over 20 viewers for the stream already, in and out, in and out. Again, the first thing we kicked off the podcast.org and vote. So that's about being able to make a difference in your city and voting in your city and state. Again, the petitions for the causes you believe in, justice for the state of their names, hashtags available at change.org, and the petition for the 4th stimulus check in the amount of $2,000 at change.org. Legalizing businesses, community programs, school programs, after school programs, politicians running for office, and propositions can be found at vote.org. Justice for the causes you believe in, to say their names, hashtags, and the stimulus check. That's change.org, okay? Uh, yeah, vote.org is for legalizing businesses and the politicians running for office. That's vote.org, okay? Really quickly, I want to shout out everybody, y'all. Untagged, we are at 77,399 diamonds, y'all. That's basically 77,400, which means we only need 2,600 more diamonds, 601 actually, to cash out at our $200 goal. Thank you guys so much for making me a top streamer and running these numbers all the way up to 80,000. That shit is crazy. It took 2 years to make the first 80,000. It took less than one to get right here at almost the end of the second 200 and 80,000 diamonds. So thank y'all. Also on the Tango app, on the broken phone, I believe we have cashed out somewhere between $300 and $500 already. And we have cashed out over $50 on the brand new account, tango.me/Cherry Franklin Show. Thank y'all so much for the love and support. Again, this is a smoke session. Y'all can comment and ask questions and let us know what flavors you smoking, what's your favorite music, and your opinion about the government, the quarantine, and the stimulus check as well. A lot of debate going on about the vaccine. A lot of jobs are offering bonuses, and the jails offering financial compensation for those who do decide to get vaccinated. Those who were already vaccinated in December and January are now up for a booster shot. After 6 months, you are entitled to a booster shot. There are less and less stories of people dying from these vaccines, yeah. Either we're getting healthier or the medicine is getting better. And either way, it is your personal choice whether yourself or children are vaccinated. A lot of parents I know are scared to send their kids to school uh, with the without a COVID vaccine, when there's kids being sent to school from families and households that do have someone with COVID in the house. Um, it's just a lot of dynamics to this. Again, we've never had an airborne pandemic such as this, a COVID-19 unseen airborne disease that shut down schools and public transportation. Um, Kind of weary and resemblance of Resident Evil or The Walking Dead or one of these other movies where uh, the disease infects others unknowingly, like most diseases do. Most all diseases do. But that person then is able to infect others around them. Is highly contagious. So, y'all, please do your research. And if you are a very healthy person, please do what you can to help and advise and help others around you um, get with their doctors and physicians and decide what's the best action for them as well. Two goals that the United States has right now. First goal is to get everyone vaccinated. The second goal is to get everyone back employed. So unemployment benefits ended September 6th. That was an additional $300 per week, or $400 if you qualified for also mixed earners unemployment compensation. I supposedly did, but I never received my MEUC. So to me, that was all a bunch of crap. And except for the $300 a week that PUA was giving us with EDD. This again, not a whole lot of money. $900 to $1,200 a month is barely rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in my city, much less a house or a 2-bedroom apartment. Most 1-bedroom apartments are more than that, like $1,200 or more. You understand me? And if you don't know, you have to make 3 times the rent to be able to move into a place if you don't have a good rental history or good credit. Like if you just live with your family your whole life or something. So many things that play a role into this that require us to be concerned. Should we be expecting a forced stimulus check? Do we want a forced stimulus check? Do we need a forced stimulus check? What can we do about the forced stimulus check? So, without further ado, we are going to start our research. Y'all make sure you follow us on YouTube and check out our recently played list and our playlist on the sidebar to get access to all the music and news that we play here on the Cherry Franklin Show, as well as the artists and the creators that we support and that support us. Very important that you guys check this out. There are a playlist for the Record Friday and the playlist playlist. Y'all, these are artists whose streams, independent releases genuinely and organically count the streams and views and subscribers, and they definitely need to get their subscribers up because none of us have a blue check, none of us on YouTube. So y'all please go check it out. Again, that's the Cherry Franklin Show page on YouTube. Check out our playlist and all the artists.
Look, let me show you why the easiest
and
way.
creators and businesses and that we and support us.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. I told you guys this morning that if the government or the Senate passed the government funding bill, I would provide you with a midday update. Well, that's exactly what they did, and so that's exactly what I'm doing. The Senate actually passed this bill 65 to 35, and 15 Republicans voted in favor of government funding. This means the government will be funded until December 3rd, 2021. There will be money for billions of dollars, not just money, but billions of dollars for emergency disaster relief, which is great for states like Louisiana that were obviously hit by the hurricanes and floods and fires as well. But then we're also going to see billions of dollars for Afghan refugees as well for relocation. So,
what?
There's all that is in there. The good news is they are still going to work for the debt ceiling. That's something that obviously is a very, very important. It's something that has to happen.
That's what they was threatening to shut down if they don't increase the debt ceiling.
That's the date that the government's going to run out of money. So we're 18 days away. Things are hopefully going to pick up after the government's funded, after the vote on the $1.2 trillion bill later on today in the House of Representatives. So we'll see what happens there. However, a report came out today from the Washington Post and from Politico that Senator Joe Manchin has been asking since July. Since July, he has been requesting that the $3.5 trillion bill gets pretty much whittled down to $1.5 trillion. Just to give you an idea, $1.5 trillion covers very little of the Democrats' plan.
That was like the $600
The child tax credit payments take up a big portion of $1.5 trillion. And that is according to reports today. That's one of the reasons why many Democrats are pushing against the child tax credit payments and possibly going from 4 years down to just 2, because it will cut that in half. Others say that if we go from 4 years to just 1 more year of the child tax credit payments, and then if the Democrats win, that remain in control of the House and the Senate after the next midterm election, which is next year, then they could go back and try to go for an additional 4 years or 3 years, or they can make it a permanent tax fixture. So that's a lot of what we're hearing now. However, here's the crazy thing, and I want to bring this up because people are thinking, this stuff cannot be happening. Why does this stuff keep happening? You can't even make this stuff up. You couldn't even make a movie about this. That's how ridiculous some of the stuff that's going on is. But here's something I want to explain, okay? And again, you're going to think this is crazy, but this is actually happening. Back on January 19th, 2020, what we heard was Senator Joe Manchin, actually 2021, excuse me, Senator Joe Manchin, he supported a $4 trillion infrastructure bill, up to $4 trillion. Now he's pushing for 1.5, okay? But this was back on January 19th, 2021. This was right after President Biden was inaugurated. That's what he supported. There's multiple articles out right now. They're actually recirculating them saying, well, you supported this then. What has changed? Well, according to Joe Manchin, the economy's changed. Businesses have changed. COVID, we have it under control, right? No, we don't, right? But this is what we heard back on January 19th. Well, on July 13th, reports are indicating that Schumer, Sanders, and Warner, they announced that the $3.5 trillion framework, okay, that was on July 13th. Before that, I think President Biden, he actually put his framework out there. However, according to reports now, Joe Manchin privately told Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer that he wants just a $1.5 trillion infrastructure bill. And anything over that, he would not guarantee if he votes for it or supports it. Well, on August 11th, I'm just going to break down this timeline. You can see all this if you go to Jeff Stein, you go to his Twitter, you go to stuff on Washington Post, you'll see all this stuff. See this exact breakdown. But on August 11th, the Senate, with progressives, they passed a $1 trillion bipartisan bill. On August 13th, the Senate passes the $1.5 trillion budget resolution, which then it had to be worked out so that they could really get that done, because obviously the House had to pass it as well. That was the issue, and that's where moderates were like, you know what, we don't want to do that. That's when Senator Joe Manchin was talking with Josh Gottheimer and other moderates in the House of Representatives, telling them exactly what to do, how to hold this up, because he didn't want us to see a $3.5 trillion budget reconciliation bill pass. Well, today on September 30th, we are now seeing that Joe Manchin's request, what his guidelines, his framework, this is now being revealed by Politico for $1.5 trillion. Just to give you an idea. And again, you can go to Jeff Stein on Twitter, and you can see all this. Okay, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it's an agreement to start budget resolution. And this was dated for July 28, 2021. And it says on the very top line, $1.5 trillion. Okay, just to give you an idea. The offset conditions. This is what's going to pay for this. The big thing is any revenue exceeding $1.5 trillion shall be used for deficit reduction. Okay, so he was not expecting anything over $1.5 trillion in spending, but anything over $1.5 trillion in additional revenue can go to bringing down the deficit. But he's talking about the corporate tax rate of 25%, corporate domestic minimum tax of 15%, raise the top rate on ordinary income 39.6%, raise capital gains tax 28% all in, and carried interest, tax gap, rebate rule, and dynamic growth. At the very bottom, okay, right above Joe Manchin and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's signature, it says, Senator Manchin does not guarantee that he will vote for the final reconciliation legislation if it exceeds the conditions outlined in this agreement. Okay, that is crazy that we are just now seeing this on September 30th when this was signed on July 28th, 2021. But the crazy thing about all this stuff, okay, is that right now progressives are saying, well, you keep throwing out these numbers, you keep throwing out these different ideas last minute. You're not giving us an idea of where you stand.
President Evil happened,
but
we would
that's
die,
coming from progressives.
Y'all can't stay y'all
and Joe and President Biden, he is still trying to figure out, okay, well, what's your top line number? Where do you stand? How much do you support? What do you support? But yet we have it. We have the exact thing right here that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer signed. This is what, I'm serious, this is what we cannot make up. How does the Senate Majority Leader have this? He's had it since July 28th. He knows this. He signed it. And now, 2 months later, a little bit over 2 months later, now we're starting to see that, the Senate Majority Leader has been holding on to this. Joe Manchin knew this was there, which I actually credit Joe Manchin for not coming out and be like, hey, look, this is what we have. We have this signed.
For not snitching.
Okay? And now you're coming out and telling me, I'm not sticking up to, my end of the bargain.
Oh.
Globalization partners simplifies international business by enabling you to hire teams in new countries without setting up foreign branch offices, and with software that puts onboarding and managing your
the bargain. This was our deal. So I actually applaud Joe Manchin for that. He's not throwing his leader under the bus, but at the same time, the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is kind of screwing with the American people. He's not giving even President Biden the answers that he needs. And so right now, it's crazy. But the good news is, at least today, the government has so far averted a government shutdown. But that is if the House of Representatives passes this bill, which they're going to pass, or they're going to vote on it today. They're also going to vote on the $1.2 trillion bill today. Out of those two bills, one of those bills will pass. That's at least according to experts. The one bill will be the government funding bill. It will not be the bill to pass the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. That's at least according to experts. So what I can tell you right now, things are crazy. Things are probably going to get a little bit worse before they get completely better.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you just passed something that's not going to
at least we are moving
families.
forward. We're moving in some direction. When we stand still, the problem with lawmakers is when they stand still, a lot of them are accepting the fact that we're just standing still, nothing's getting worse, nothing's getting better, we're okay. When in reality, the American people are still suffering. So if we're not passing bills, we're not getting anything done, we are suffering. We are hurting and things are getting worse. So at least we are moving in a direction when we will have answers as to what's going to pass later on today. But I promise you, I'll be back on later on today to explain what is going on. Hopefully the bills pass before then. If not, tomorrow morning, I'll provide an update on everything that's passed, what that means moving forward, and everything in between. So just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll probably be back on here later on today, so make sure you stick around for that. Make sure you hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Also, consider subscribing so I can keep you up to date on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
All right, we're about to go see what the fuck he's talking about. He just listened to one that I wasn't really satisfied with, and I'll be damned if I watch something that's gonna be like another 10-20 minutes of my life and you still not telling me what the fuck you got going on with this money. I'm just not gonna do that. Sorry, y'all. My show's for grown-ups. I cuss a lot on here. But not sorry. What the fuck is y'all doing with my money? I've been working 20 years in this country almost.
Cooling off as drama in Washington heats up. There is progress in a government shutdown, but the future of President Biden's infrastructure reconciliation bills and the debt ceiling remain in the balance. Joining us now for an exclusive interview, former Council of Economic Advisors Chair Jason Furman. I guess it's nothing new in Washington, but what we really are seeing, Jason, the tensions exposed in the Democratic Party, the moderates holding up some bills, the progressives holding up bills. How do you expect this to play out as it relates to two pillars of the Biden administration's economic agenda?
Yeah, I think it was Winston Churchill who said something to the effect of Americans do the right thing after they've exhausted all the alternatives. That's certainly true about Congress. They go through lots and lots of phases of drama. But at the end, I think on most of this, they're going to end up in a sensible place. We're seeing that with funding the government. I think things are going to pass in the infrastructure and reconciliation bill, some which way as well.
Really? With Senator Manchin saying $1.5 trillion is his upper limit? It's about $2 trillion short?
Oh, there's a large spread there. There's a lot they're going to need to work through to get there. It's definitely not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed when you need 100% of one party and you don't have any of the other party. Even his $1.5 trillion leaves some room, though. How do you count a tax cut, for example? A lot of the environmental provisions, a lot of the provisions for children are actually tax cuts. If they count on the tax side of the ledger, that would enable more spending and not count against the 1.5
Jason, excuse me one
gross.
moment, because Greg, we've got you here to react to what is some breaking news crossing right now on the government funding bill, which Elon has for us. Elon?
Well, Wilfred, the House now has the votes it needs to fund the government through December the 3rd. That vote is still ongoing on the floor, but the current tally is about 221 in favor, well above the level needed to clear this bill. Now, the Senate passed a version of this bill earlier today, so after this vote is done, it would go to the president for his signature, allowing Washington to avoid a government shutdown at midnight tonight, as the House now has the votes it needs in order to pass the government funding bill. Back over to you.
Elon, thanks so much for that. Jason, I guess that sort of comes to your point on one of these two big parts, which is that they'll get there in the end.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm glad they did this through December. I'd much rather see them work through regular order to pass appropriations bills where they make decisions. You know, let's spend more in this area, let's spend that less in that area. Autopilot for 2.5 months is less than ideal, but it's a lot better than the alternative of a government shutdown. You know, the debt limit is the next one. We may just have 2 weeks to deal with that, possibly a little bit more wiggle room, but you know, I think that'll be another one where they'll, some which way, figure out how to get through it.
They need to.
You think we should get rid of the debt limit, right? You've written about this. Steve reminded us at the top of the hour after some of the drama that we saw last time in 2011, which led to the downgrade of U.S. government debt. Why do we go through this time and time again?
Yeah, I don't know why we do. No other country has a debt limit. There are fiscal crises around the world, but they're always when people no longer want to lend to your government. The United States would be unique in having a crisis because the government no longer was willing to borrow. I was against the debt limit when President Trump was in office. I urged the Democrats to vote for raising the debt limit. President Trump was president, and I think the Republicans should do the same now. I think we should get rid of it. You want to raise it by, $1 Google, one with 100 zeros, that would be fine too. We could then come back in 1,000,000 years to the issue.
I didn't know that number. To remember. Jason, want to pivot and talk, as we pivot to inflation. I mean, we haven't got that level of inflation, obviously. But to what level do you think that it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy when it does persist now for many months, not just a few months, and at quite pronounced levels? And is it a concern to you?
I think inflation is going to be more persistent than what the Fed is counting on. It'll certainly come down from its recent white-hot levels, but I see it stabilizing closer to 3% than the 2% that the Fed is counting on. I think a lot of ingenuity has gone into pointing out all the transitory components of inflation, like used car prices. Less has gone into the shoes that have yet to drop: shelter inflation, medical prices, especially in the CPI, wages passing through to prices, and the continued fiscal support the economy is receiving. I think all of that adds up to inflation well above what we've been used to historically.
So if you think that, Jason, and you also think that these two bills are going to pass, that's trillions of more dollars potentially going into the system. What do they do to the inflation and economic picture in the U.S.?
I think on the medium term, it's imperceptible. The bills will be largely paid for, especially the reconciliation bill. The money's spread out over time. They increase the productive capacity of the economy. If somehow they generated inflationary pressures, which I don't expect, the Fed would have time to deal with them. So there's a big difference between the legislation they're talking about now and what happened in March, when trillions of dollars were poured into the economy with almost no notice. The March one was very hard for the Fed to do anything about. This time, if it needs to, it can.
Y'all, please remember to visit change.org to vote on the fourth stimulus check, as well as Justice for the Say Their Names hashtags, Justice for George Floyd, justice for Ahmaud Arbery, justice for Breonna Taylor, Vanessa Gillen, Ma'Khia Bryant, and Adam Toledo, Elijah McClain, as well as the 8 black men and women found hanging in the U.S. since the death of George Floyd and deemed suicide by local law enforcement agencies. Y'all, please vote on the forced stimulus check petition on change.org. The amount of $2,000, approaching 3 million signatures. Problem is, millions of Americans already have voted, um, and another so many 100,000 are necessary. So let's keep up the good work, as well as y'all vote.org to vote on laws in your city and state, your community programs, after school programs, um, educational programs, public housing, public transportation, uh, politicians running for office, as well as propositions being written into bills and laws. Y'all make sure you do vote where you can, when you can, uh, make a difference, y'all. They passed a funding bill to prevent a government shutdown, but at the same time, they actually supposed to, no vote for the infrastructure bill until reconciliation is passed. Build Back Better plan. Just trying to see exactly what the fuck is they doing with our money, because obviously they don't fucking know. Trying to pay themselves and shit. I don't know what I just clicked on accident, but we're about to see. I don't really like their attitude.
Peters, Reed, Rosen, Schatz, Schumer, Shaheen, Sinema, Smith, Stabenow, Tester, Van Hollen, Warner, Warnock, Whitehouse, and Wyden. Senators voting in the negative: Barrasso, Blunt, Braun, Burr, Capito, Cassidy, Collins, Cotton, Crapo, Cruz, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Grassley, Haggerty, Hawley, Hyde-Smith, Johnson, Kennedy, Lankford, Lee, Lummis, Marshall, McConnell, Portman, Risch, Romney, Rounds, Scott of Florida, Scott of South Carolina, Shelby, Sullivan, Tillis, Toomey, Wicker, and Young. Mr. Booker, aye. Mr. Merkley, aye.
Come on, y'all. It's 8:30. It's time to go home.
Bethune, no. Mr. Bozeman, no. Mr. Leahy, aye.
So basically, all y'all got some money, so y'all can stay open, but y'all don't know what y'all gonna do about the stimulus, cause somebody else don't want to fucking raise their budget, so everybody, millions and millions of families can have some money too. Basically, that's what you mean to tell me.
Mr. Hoven, no.
Alright, well, it's a good picture, shit. They will say what the fuck it is they gonna say at the end of this shit and hurry up. No. We watched voting yesterday too. Now we're watching voting again today. What the hell? I ain't in
Mr.
it.
Kramer, no. Mr. Sanders, aye.
You want me to whoop them, y'all? Because obviously they don't know what the fuck they doing in this motherfucker. The government needs to have something for us within 10 to 13 days because 2 weeks is too long.
Ms. Warren, aye.
Alright, fuck that. We about to go recap some details. They're taking too long. Ooh, so exciting. No, I'm just kidding. I don't like the way they bullshit and with the stare you with. Checking next starts to pay, yes. Oh. Let's go. I just want to know who the hell is these people who keep saying shit. I think some of them don't even speak English that good to be predicting what is and ain't gonna happen in this raggedy motherfucker.
Did you know that you can make money from YouTube within the next 6 hours with a brand new channel and 0 subscribers? That's right.
I think he's lying.
Good afternoon, friends. Welcome back to my channel. Progressive lawmakers in Congress have announced that they will not agree to an infrastructure bill. This is really bad news for millions of Americans. Thank you, friends, for joining me here today. This is your daily news report and fourth stimulus check update. Please make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and watch until the end of this video to learn how to enter tomorrow's $100 Walmart gift card giveaway. House Republican leaders are launching an all-out campaign to seek a bipartisan infrastructure bill, as Democratic leaders struggle to unite their caucus around the legislation ahead of a high-stakes floor vote on Thursday. While the $1.2 trillion infrastructure package contains popular items widely supported by both parties and earned the backing of 19 Republicans in the Senate, GOP leaders in the House want to ensure that Republicans will not be the reason the bill gets over the finish line and have began to crank up the pressure on their members. Both House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and House Minority Whip Steve Scalise have been making personal calls to members and talking to lawmakers on the House floor. And while Republican leaders are not threatening members who back the bill, they are being forceful with their pitches. One Republican member said the whipping operation was pretty intense. Another Republican described the effort as an 8 out of 10. And a third House Republican said, "We're very serious about it." While GOP leaders have acknowledged that there will be some Republicans who cross party lines, Representative Steve Scalise said at a press conference earlier this week that they will work together to keep that number as low as we possibly can. The scramble to limit GOP defections underscores just how high the stakes are for both parties. President Biden's agenda is on the verge of imploding as Democratic leaders struggle to unite the warring factions inside their party, and Republicans, keenly aware that the passage of the infrastructure and reconciliation may be Democrats' best hope for keeping their majorities next year, are eager to keep the spotlight on the disarray across the aisle.
Ms. Pelosi. Speaker is recognized. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I thank the gentlewoman for yielding and for her extraordinary service and leadership as the chair of the Appropriations Committee. I commend her and I commend the ranking member for their leadership in bringing this bipartisan legislation to the floor. It was formulated in a bipartisan way. It was voted for in the Senate, which is a large bipartisan vote just earlier today. And now we will be able to pass this legislation, enroll it in a ceremony, and send it to the President of the United States. And in doing so, the CR, and I think not only the chair, but the chairs of the subcommittee, we call them the Cardinals, they've all worked so hard to get us to this place, which will make such a difference. Actually, Madam Speaker, it helps us honor what the Constitution is about. The preamble said, to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. So establishing justice in many broad sense of the word, helping the hungry families, ensuring people have access to justice and the courts, advancing fairness in health and in the workplace, ensure domestic tranquility, funding interior, keeping the commerce and the economy of America running smoothly, providing for the common defense, paying our troops and diplomats, and keeping our homeland safe, promoting the general welfare, educating our children, keeping workers paid, fighting the climate crisis, protecting the environment, providing relief for families suffering from natural disasters, and securing the blessings of liberty, including to help resettle Afghan refugees. And thank you for the important language you crafted in a bipartisan way in this legislation. What is important about it right now is that it meets the needs of people who are affected by Hurricane Ida.
Moderate Democratic Representative Stephanie Murphy, co-chairman of the Blue Dog Coalition, slammed both Republicans and progressive Democrats for not supporting the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Representative Stephanie Murphy said, "I urge my Republican colleagues to abandon their cynical quest for political advantage and to vote for this good bill. And I ask my Democratic colleagues to discard their ill-fated effort to gain leverage over members of their own party and to vote for this good bill." So friends, what are your thoughts on what's going on in Congress? Please leave them in the comment section below. Based on the guidance published by the Internal Revenue Service in their contingency plan, it does not seem likely that the October child tax credit payment will be impacted by government shutdown. There are specific programs and tax credits that Congress provides funding for through a fiscal year, ending on September 30th. Other programs like Social Security are paid out of an indefinite appropriation, and therefore the Internal Revenue Service may continue making these payments during a shutdown. Similarly, the funds needed to distribute the child tax credit were appropriated under the American Rescue Plan and do not run out after this fiscal year. The Internal Revenue Service states that a certain subset of its workforce will be kept on to ensure the distribution of payments is not interrupted. The key word
sex. Something.
Pop quiz. What's the fastest way to raise your credit score? Is it A, pay your bills on time, B, hire a credit repair agency, C, remove inquiries, or D, none of the above? The answer may surprise you because if you're one of the 153.
Alright, this is the point that I'm trying to come up with, okay? They just passed some money that the government can get some more money for them to stay getting paid and working all the way to December. That don't mean though that they could just stall out until December to figure out exactly what they got going on. You know what I want them to do is send us a stimulus check. Send a stimulus check this time for agriculture, medical, hero pay. You know what I'm saying? Medical hero. You could do agriculture and essential, which is still more hero pay. SSI and adult workers. Honey, a stimulus check for them. And they could do an amount of $2,000. And that'll be for, you know what I'm saying, that the other shit that was at the beginning of this year make up for the bullshit they took us through 2020, because they didn't do shit for us. Unemployment. On and off. But they need to give us a $2,000 stimulus check, honey. SSI, medical, essential, agriculture, and SSI, head of household. They already have the child tax credit. Continue the child tax credit for those who need social distance learning, babysitters, and social distance learning, babysitters, and even equipment for the social distance learning, things like that. Doctor's appointments, checkups, make sure the kids is not getting sick. I don't know. It's just a lot. It's a lot that we're going through that we pay sales tax every day for, and the government don't take care of us. We pay taxes to do things in this country, and this country is fucking is leaving us fucked up to figure this shit out. Fun fact: this has nothing to do with this show, but I recently just applied for a few jobs. Um, there's a couple places mass hiring: CVS, Chipotle. Um, I believe that some are offering sign-on bonuses. Uh, Amazon, McDonald's, a couple other things, and a couple places here in my city opening up, hiring. You know what I'm saying? They have another In-N-Out Burger, a couple other things here in Stockton going on. So it's about to be cold. They're thinking maybe of doing more quarantine, pandemic type health, social distancing measures and things like that, and everybody getting vaccinated. Even bonuses and the jails paying inmates bonuses at work if you're vaccinated. In some jobs, it's mandatory. Flight attendants, teachers, things like that, I believe, are all required to be vaccinated. Gross. Gross that we all have to take an experimental drug or vaccine. But here's the thing: if you in a high risk area, you want to be more protected. If you experience and come in contact with more danger, you want to be more protected, right? So, is it worth the money? Is it worth your life? I don't know. Is it? Have there been reports of people dying from the vaccination shot? Yes, it has. Yep. But it's been over 500,000 died with COVID flu-like symptoms, tested positive for COVID-19. So it's a lot. It's heavy. It's a lot to think about. And again, we say all that to say this. Visit change.org to sign the petitions. Visit vote.org to vote and make a difference in your city and state. Don't donate anywhere. This should all be free. Okay? Do not donate anywhere. And if you're low on funds and low on health insurance, visit mdsave.com, as in Dr. MD, and save you some money to save on online underground vouchers and coupons for medical and hospital needs and procedures and facilities available in your state and neighboring states, depending on location, okay? Y'all, please make sure you do what you can, where you can, when you can, make a difference and vote. We're going to get off of Facebook and YouTube. Usually the podcast is supposed to run 30 minutes to an hour. We just broke an hour. So thank y'all for being here, running my numbers up. I did see over like 10 viewers on Facebook and YouTube as well. Yeah, you're beautiful. Your soul is beautiful. Your energy is positive. You're important to me, your community, your family, and your friends. And I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here and making me a top streamer. Thank you for running my numbers up. And thank y'all for my money. All of that, all of that, all of that, all of that. Make sure you follow and subscribe on Facebook and YouTube, as well as Instagram, Spotify, wherever you may be following us, on tango.me/Terry Franklin Show, on the tagged app, Ustream, OnlyFans, wherever the live streaming and social media is being reposted, and to hashtag that. So thank y'all so much for all the love and support and for following us across all these social media platforms. We'll see y'all at the next smoke session. Once again, that